So something else I wanted to talk about, which is kind of a modern phenomena, and this relates to the change of value in society, and this is something I've also kind of noticed as well a lot in Budapest, is that the proliferation of graffiti and tags. And this is very interesting because obviously the tags and graffiti didn't exist. Well, they did in forms. They did exist in certain forms, such as scratching and forms of murals that were kind of hand done. Especially religious tags. You would see religious Christian tags in caves and tombs to represent the kind of the cult of certain things. But today we obviously have a proliferation of these things, and a massive amount of them exist in, for example, the city. Now, if you go to the city, you'll see them, and you see how many there is, and you think to yourself, well, that's kind of strange. Why isn't the council done anything about that? But the interesting thing is, it's kind of become, from an outsider's viewer's perspective, the modern culture of the city is a feature of graffitis and tags. That's why you have ruin bars, which are very popular tourist attractions. But what fascinates me about this most is if you go to one of the tourist attractions, let's say Buddha Castle, and you look at what Buddha Castle represented for the time in which it existed and which it was made, specifically in which it was made, and then you look at what is pasted on top of it, which is tags and graffiti, it shows the change in value structure of what our modern society lives in today, which is one of personal certification, you could say, one of ego, specific ego, which is to project continuously onto other things, and there is no idea of harmony within that. The value structure of the past has therefore decayed and disappeared, because you have the idea of tags and graffiti. Because ultimately, and then there's another thing, like most people, when they see these things, they don't actually mean anything. Graffiti is just a squiggle. It's just a mess, and then you don't know what it says, and you don't know what it means, and that's it. It's just it's kind of a form of. You could kind of see it in a lot of different ways. You could kind of see it as as a malignant disease, because a malignant disease kind of overcomes things in its own time and propagates itself over time, a bit like graffiti. Obviously, you have beautiful graffiti which actually illustrates a point, which I like and would like support. But it's like you have this other stuff which overcomes and pastes itself on top of things that are maybe more healthy than for what it actually is itself. That is then put onto that thing. For example, Buddha Castle, you go to it, the amount of scratchings, graffiti. It's interesting because I perceive it in my own way as the overcoming of the past values to something different, which in itself is that of subjective, egocentric arrogance and narcissism, without having a fundamental value to and that being itself the fundamental value to why it's there, because it's kind of a nihilism, a form of nihilism as well, is because it illustrates in a way the fact that I exist, therefore my opinion matters. But why is that the case? Oh, just because you exist, your opinion matters. What about your opinion? Does your opinion articulate itself in a certain way that makes your opinion matter? But the belief that my opinion matters, therefore, that the fact doesn't matter that I exist, therefore my opinion matters, makes people believe that, no matter what it is, it doesn't have to represent any kind of value. The nihilism becomes contagious. And this is kind of maybe a form of what tagging is, but then it's also not that, because it is kind of that, but it's also a representation that our collective nihilism of living in a world where the past values don't matter then creates a new value structure. And that's where you get ruin bars, because ruin bars are famous for their tags and graffiti, and how maybe you could even potentially say the seeking out of value in a world in which has become nihilistic from our fundamental fall of the past, therefore creates a new sense of harmony within people who are thus also understanding of what that is.